Manchester City versus Arsenal this weekend. The big one already seems like, I don't want to call it a title decider, right? Because you certainly can't win the title in the first 5-6 games. But Sir Alex used to always say, you can definitely lose it.
Yeah, Pep says that too.
Yeah, so it's a big one, man. It's a big one. Obviously, I don't think the last time Arsenal won at the Etihad, how long ago was that, man? Was that the year that Cazorla kind of just went crazy?
Yeah, it is.
Let me ask you this, right? To kind of open up this preview. Does Arsenal need to win this weekend? And I'm not saying do they need to win from to win the league, do they need to win? But to almost put out a statement.
Statement-wise, it'll be unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
If they won, if it's statement-wise, wow. I mean, they'll look serious for the rest of the season. Do they need to win? No, but they can't lose for me. They can't lose. In terms of winning, it's hard to win at the Etihad. You know what I mean? It's one of the toughest grounds to go to now in world football. I think Brentford 2 seasons ago, the last team to win there. It's so hard to do. But beating Spurs gave them a cushion, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely
gave them a cushion. They needed that after the Brighton game.
100%. That gave them a cushion. But they can't lose to City. Because this City right now, with Haaland and the form that he's in, if they go and beat Arsenal and get that kind of breathing space where they can just feel confident against every team and be kind of relaxed, they'll fly, man. Man City will fly.
They're 2 points, I think, at the moment ahead of Arsenal.
They've won every game, City.
Yeah, and Arsenal dropped 2 points against Brighton. So this would potentially put them 5 points ahead. And 5 points against City this early on, bro.
Yeah, the City will probably go on. So I actually think it's important Arsenal don't lose. But do they need to? If they walk away from the Etihad with a draw, so you beat Spurs away, walked away from City with a draw, walked away from Villa Park with a win. Hold on. You're looking at it like, our second half of the season when the home fixtures start coming. So they can't lose for me, but winning, I think they can walk away with a draw and they'll be happy, man.
You know what's so funny, right? I think right now everyone is looking at City as unstoppable and Haaland sanity, Erland sanity, if you want to call it that. He's in the form of his life. It doesn't look like any team can beat them. But I actually think, right, and this might be unpopular or a hot take, I actually think this is probably the time you want to play City if you're Arsenal. Because you look at the way how Pep's teams usually grow into campaigns, it's typically January onwards where they actually hit their final form, or they start really becoming this defensive juggernaut that can win games any way they want. I look at the early start to this season, and yes, Haaland has been unbelievable, and City as a whole have been very, very good. Rico Lewis, I think, is having such an impressive campaign. But I'm looking at defensively, I wouldn't say they're bad, but they're kind of making unceremoniously uncommon City errors defensively. It's a little sloppy in the back. And I actually think if I'm Arsenal, I'd rather go to the Etihad now than in April or in March, where it's crunch time. Pep's team is locked in, and it's bro, that's for me the worst time you ever want to play Pep's team. I think now is actually the best chance you have of getting a result against them.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't want to go to Etihad in a do or die. Do or die late in the season. Yeah. They love to get up for those ones.
Even last year, for example, right? They got a draw at the Etihad, and it was not celebrated, but it was viewed as a good point. But it still left them behind City. It still left them relying on City to kind of drop points. I feel now this is where you want to play them.
Listen, if you got 33 games after this one, after their game to catch up or to make up, you know what I mean, to understand your assignment. So it's much better than dropping points in April and you got 4 games to go and now you're relying on flipping Fulham to go to Etihad and beat them. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. So right now, in terms of that, you're right. But in terms of, I know City are still doing that little kind of conceding a little bit of goals and stuff, but I still think right now, in terms of timing maybe, but in terms of where City currently are, I don't think it's a good time to play them. With Haaland on this form, with the mood that they're in, Pep said pre-season's over now, and that was after 3 wins in a row. They went and beat Brentford actually caused them trouble. I think the 2 up front situation caused them trouble. But at the same time, City still could have scored 5 or 6 in that game. Haaland hit the post. Haaland had a chance. KDB, I think, had a chance. So City could have still went and done their thing. So it's going to be do you know what? There's not going to be a battering in this game, for sure. No. Arsenal defensively are too solid. Yeah. They're I'm talking about it in the group chat, right? And I don't know where you stand on it. And I think Steph said, this Arsenal team's the best defensive team since peak Atletico. And I was like, okay, I don't know.
Who's coming between them?
I truly think Liverpool 18 to 20 were unbelievable defensively. When peak Van Dijk and Liverpool were conceding only 22 goals in the league or something crazy. Like that. And they were incredible. So, I don't know. I mean, where do you stand in that conversation? But if you're talking about in Premier League, like, you know, in the Premier League history,
they're one of the best
there's been some great defensive sides, but they'll be in, okay, I don't say top 5, but they'll make themselves in the top 10 or something.
Why couldn't they be top 5?
Because there's the Invincibles. They were very good defensively.
Yeah.
There's Chelsea.
But hold on.
Man United,
without sounding disrespectful here, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Invincibles are an amazing team.
Arsenal.
What sets the Invincibles apart defensively to this team?
They don't lose.
They don't lose, but also they have an amazing, like, I think offensively they were a better team. But that's as a whole team. Defensively, the way this Arsenal, again, look, maybe the Invincibles, it's before my time, so I'm speaking maybe out of pocket here, right? But like, if I'm just looking at this Arsenal team, right? The individuals defensively that kind of form what Arsenal is, David Raya in goal, who's probably the safest pair of hands in the league, maybe bar Alisson. Back four, you have 4 guys who love defending, take great pride in it, can play the defensive side. There's no defensive liability like a Zinchenko in the past before. All 4 of these guys love defending. You have basically a center back who's become a right back now, who's playing out there. Gabriel and Saliba are arguably the best center back partnership in the world at the moment. In front of them, you're playing with thoroughbreds like Declan Rice and Thomas Partey, although he's lost his athleticism a bit, is still like a big guy right there. Like, why can't this team be considered one of the best, like one of the top 5? Like, I think you're going to look at teams who have had more collective success than them, but I don't think that comes down solely to their defense. I think Arsenal have maybe issues further up the pitch, I would say, but defensively, this, for me, bar, I would say 04-05 Chelsea, and I think I always look at that United team too. Van der Sar, Rio, and Vidic was crazy. 09. But this team is up there, man. Yeah, for me, they're up there.
I think they're up there. I don't know if they'll be in the top 5 because, bro, you got to remember, you know, there's teams like the 98 Arsenal, for example. And 98 Arsenal, they conceded 16 goals,
Keown
17
and
goals.
Adams.
Yeah, it's Jose's team broke their record. You know what I mean? They conceded 17 goals, I think it was.
I hear all these teams, and again, no disrespect to any of them. I think they're all up there for a reason. But let me give you a stat, bro, that kind of puts everything into context here. Arsenal in 2024 have conceded 3 goals away from home in the Premier League.
That's away from home.
Away from home, okay, 3 goals conceded.
Yeah. No, honestly,
like we're looking for me at one of the best defensive teams in this moment. Like in the moment that they're in, they for me can chat to most teams defensively.
In the modern time, I think it's great. I think again, I gotta still put a lot of respect on that Liverpool one. Yeah. That Liverpool, because you're talking about Declan Rice in front of these guys and stuff, but they had Fabinho in front, who was world class.
No, they were crazy. They're
Jordan
crazy.
Henderson, he was getting.
I'm even gonna say City the year they won the treble, when they kind of locked in for that second half of the season. You had Ake on the left, Walker on the right, Rodri in front of them. Like that team was built on their defense. Basically.
But you know what's absolutely crazy? I think it might be the other way around, but that season that I'm talking about. But again, because the thing is, it's the way you perceive things, innit? It's the way you see things. Because Pep Guardiola will say great defense is having possession. That's what they say. That's what Xavi says. The way to stop teams from attacking us is about keep the ball. Yeah. So you look at it, that season that I'm talking about with Liverpool, in the first season anyway, 18-19, I think they conceded 22 goals or 23. Man City only conceded 1 goal more. Yeah. Or less. I can't remember which one. I think it might be a bit. Man City conceded less. That's incredible, bro. Yeah. But we would never look at that. And City's defensive
statistics have always been brilliant. But you know what it is? Again, it's because they keep the ball so much and they limit how many times the opposition can really attack them.
For me, this form of defense.
It is, of course, it's a form of defense, right? But this Arsenal team, the way they defend, like
they can defend high line, low block.
And it's the fact they love defending, bro. Like they don't mind suffering. Like that result against Spurs, right? It's old fashioned. Let's be real, right? We talk about Arteta and we were talking about Barclays men the other week, right? And we're talking about like, anti-Barclays men. A lot of them are Arsenal players. Someone would say, Arteta's anti-Barclays men. You look at the way his team set up against Spurs. It's 4-4-2. It's 2 banks of 4, 2 old-fashioned wingers, 2 guys up front. Defend your box, win your individual duels, hit teams on the break, win set pieces. This is for me an old-fashioned that's how you win games.
Arteta sets up, and he will set up. He will set up the same way against Man City, I think. I don't know.
I think it's gonna be exact. I think he'll go exactly the same, but with Declan Rice in midfield.
Yeah, he'll do the low block. He did it at the Etihad last season,
and it was. To be fair,
not at the Etihad. He did it at the Emirates.
Yeah, I think last year as well too. If I remember correctly, the the shape that they went to the Etihad with, I think was with a 4-4-2, bro.
Yeah.
I think it was.
You know, I think the game will be separated by one goal. And whether that's a 1-0, whether that's a 2-1, but I'm still going to go with Manchester City win. I'm just looking at Manchester City at the moment. Not like them just as a team. I'm looking at their squad. I saw them the other day bring on Rodri, Diaz, Bernardo, and Vardiol. Come on. And Phil Foden was on the bench, just sitting there. That's too much depth, bro. Yeah. Like, that's incredible because smart signings like Savio, bringing in Rico Lewis, who these two don't look out of place. That's how your team end up looking at the depth is crazy. Because realistically, you should be looking at those men on the bench and being like, well, their starting 11 was weaker, so don't gas up their bench just because is it really? Savio's fine. Yeah. Rico Lewis is fine. Yeah. So that's how you build great side. And that's why Pep is so good at it. So I'm looking at that type of quality and I'm just thinking, I saw Arsenal bring on Nwaneri. I think he's a fantastic talent, but brought on Nwaneri, Sterling, Jesus. And I'm looking at that compared to what City have. When the game gets to 65, 70, who can make the change to win the game? It's Man City, I think, you know? So, and even then, I think Sterling should start personally, but that's another conversation. But yeah, man, I just look at that and I just think, I think Haaland's going to break his duck against Arsenal. Well, I think it's going to be the first.
Well, he scored against Arsenal. Oh, yeah. To be fair.
I mean, he was on.
He's going to break his duck against. Even Saliba, he scored against Saliba.
Oh, really?
In the what's it called? In the first game in 2022-23.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, at one point, I think he switched from Gabriel. Oh, he switched from Saliba onto Gabriel, and I think he scored that goal. But let's be real, right? Yeah. Saliba and Gabriel, they've had a lot of success against them. The way, bro, like I'm saying, they just take pride in defending. They act like bodyguards against Erling Haaland the way they play against them. I do think Martinelli will start this game. I know you're talking about Sterling. I just think with Martinelli, I was watching the game against Spurs, and I still have some criticisms of him on the ball and how effective he is in that regard. But one thing you can't question about that guy, bro, he runs. Oh my God, he works crazy hard. And I think against Manchester City, it is going to be that kind of performance similar against Spurs. Probably even worse, to be honest with you, because it's City that we're talking about. I think he is going to kind of prioritize that defensive work rate from Martinelli and then look to bring on a Sterling if they're still in the game to kind of help nick a result. But I don't know, man. I this game for me screams draw. I have to be honest with you. I think Arsenal go undefeated the first 6 games of the season. I think this is a draw.
Draw?
Yeah.
What score though?
It could be another 0-0, bro. I'll be real. These games have not. I don't think
another 0-0 where we're gonna get told that it's such a tactical.
But bro, you think about both games last season. They were both 1-0. One of them was a 1-0, and it was like snatch and grab at the end. And last year it was again a 0-0. Where like, okay, well, either team could have snatched it, but they weren't great in terms of like excitement. Like they are going to be two managers that are almost playing chess throughout the game.
It's just gonna be like they both think to themselves, we don't want to lose, but if we win, whatever, we've got 33 games to kind of catch it up and do whatever. So I do think it's going to be cagey. I am not expecting a Barclays, Premier League classic, nothing like that. But I just think with how Man City, they've only conceded 3 goals, but I think it's been in each separate games. So because they're conceding, I think Arsenal will get one. Arsenal are not conceding, but I think just with the way Man City squad and how good they are offensively, I'm going to go 2-1 to Man City, yeah. I'm going to go 2-1.
Haaland.
2-1. Haaland will get on score sheet.
The form this guy is in, bro. Let's talk a little bit about Haaland, man. I mean, like, we can't talk about City versus Arsenal without talking about Erling Haaland, man, because as much of Arsenal right now is predicated on Saliba and Gabriel, so much from City is predicated on this guy. That
Brentford game was all Haaland because
he
City
won them that game.
Good, bro.
No, but that's what that is with Erling Haaland, right? Like, he just gives them. He's such a he's a plan A, but he's also such a plan B as well too. Because you look at the opening exchanges of that game, right? And I was listening to Danny Murphy talk about it, and he actually summed it up perfectly, right? Brentford had so much success early on; they could have been up 2-0 at one point, and they had almost as many passes completed. The possession wasn't that far apart. They had a lot of shots on target. Mbeumo could have made it 2-0. But something that they had a lot of success against City with was their man-to-man press. They were pressing them one-on-one every single part of the pitch, and it worked a lot. In build-up, City really struggled. But the second goal, you look at it. If you're marking everybody individually, that means that Erling Haaland has one defender on him. High line. Ederson looks up. Brilliant pass over the top. Should Pinnock have done better? Okay, maybe. But you're playing one-on-one against Erling Haaland. And he is the equalizer. That's why I say like he is their plan B. If you manage to nullify City's build-up, they are able to go long to the craziest transition threat in the game, and in a moment of complete brilliance, he scores a goal out of nothing, bro.
He's just, as I said, the form that he's in at the moment, it's laughable now.
Yeah.
It's laughable. It's so funny. Like the other day, he scored, and nobody in my group chat even wrote that he scored. Like no one cares. Like everyone, he's demoralizing.
You know what it reminds me of, right? And I said this last week. There was a period in La Liga, in like the early 2000s to maybe 2016, where it was the same thing with Barcelona and Real Madrid. It wasn't a question of did Messi or Ronaldo score. It was how many did they score?
Yeah.
Did they score one? Did they score two? They might as well grab the hat trick. In fact, it was stranger when they didn't score.
Of course,
and we've never seen that in the Premier League before. As many great goal scorers as we've had, we've never had a guy who it's like, when he doesn't score, we're wondering what the hell is wrong with him. Yeah. We have that with Erling Haaland.
The thing is, like obviously, like growing up on the Premier League and stuff, it is giving those like obviously as I'm talking about like maybe when I was younger and as a kid. But I do remember like every match of the day, you know, Henry's gonna score.
No, but you say that
every match of the day, you knew Ronaldo is gonna score.
This guy is literally scoring he's that's the feeling. I was saying that's the feeling we had.
Yeah,
this is a reality. It's not like I thought Falcao was scoring every week. He wasn't. This guy actually is.
He's scoring more goals than games.
Yeah,
he's 72. Is it 72 goals, 70 games?
Did you see the stat with him and Ronaldo, where basically he needs a goal in his next 2 games to break Cristiano Ronaldo's record of the quickest player ever to score 100 goals for a new team. So Ronaldo scored 100 for Real Madrid. Ronaldo scored 100 goals in 105 games for Real Madrid. That's the record for the quickest to do it. Haaland has 99 and 103.
That's ridiculous.
That's what we're talking about. And I get
that just goes to show how good Ronaldo and these.
No, of course. And Ronaldo is also like he's not an out center forward. He's a wide, of course, 1000%. And I think the stat the other day when he hit 900 was like to match Ronaldo's goal scoring record, you need to score 40 goals for 20 years in a row. Like that's what we're going with here. But in Erling Haaland, that's just like the fact that he's in conversations goal scoring wise with the greatest goal scorer to ever do it tells you what kind of freak we're talking about here. Bro.
Like I was looking, do you know what? I saw somebody say that you know the kill death streak or whatever. I saw a tweet or something say that he might be the first player to end his career with like positive like more goals than games. And I was like, has anyone done that? I think somebody said some name like something Puskan.
Ferenc Puskas.
No, not Puskas. It was like
I was gonna say you're shady if you don't know Puskas.
No. It was like Jeremy Pukan or something like that. I ended up searching Puskas because I'm thinking, Puskas is, or Puskas even his is like 672 in like 684 or something like that. So like, yo, I'm not gonna say Erling Haaland's gonna do it, but damn, if you look at his record for every club, it's nearly a goal more than.
It's nuts, bro.
I don't know how. Do you think, like, obviously going back to your comment about Haaland winning a Ballon d'Or, do you take that back? Like, do you think it would be justified if Haaland was to win?
I've never said in my life.
What?
Go find the receipts. If you can find this, I'll pay you $1 million. I've never in my life said Haaland shouldn't win a Ballon d'Or.
Okay, not win, but you said he can't be deemed as the best player in the world.
I said he can't be deemed as the best footballer in the world. Player for me is different to footballer.
Yeah, I mean,
and in terms of player, 1,000. For me, player is what value do you bring to your team? And Erling Haaland is arguably the most valuable player in the world based on the goals that he scores. Now, and this is again semantics, right? And this is why when people are getting mad at me, like I don't know why you're getting mad at me. This is just the way I view it. If you disagree, you have your own word. For me, what comes into play as a footballer has a lot to do with the football at your feet. And that's why for me, I look at a Yamal. For me, he's a more gifted footballer than a Haaland. I mean, but in terms of a player, and at the end of the day, Ballon d'Or is based on performances and how you are as a player. Yes, Erling Haaland is 1,000%. Right now, he's probably the best player in the world. Right now, he arguably is, bro. How can you argue with the goals he's scoring? People got mad at me off a definition of a word that I use. It's like people getting mad at someone for using world class. There's no real definition, but it's just the way I view it.
For me, I just love how, and I hope it continues. Well, in a way, you don't as a Man United fan, but for football, I hope he continues scoring them goals where he's in the transition moments or he's bullying centre half.
Well, that's when he's at his most exciting.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you get to see a different side of Haaland.
Because a lot of people, I remember 2 years ago when I kind of made that claim, I said a big thing for me with Haaland, and again, it's me being picky, right? But he's not really a player that gets me off my feet because of the way City, the manner City were using him. He was scoring goals, but he's really getting on the end of moves and stuff like that. The way Haaland is starting off this season, and especially the way he played at Dortmund, where a lot of it was really running off the last line and dominating defenders, and he's just a merciless threat. Like that for me is like, wow.
I've always said, like, you know, obviously I understood your point, because in terms of like football, I understood that point, but I've always been on the side of Haaland where it comes to him as a football player. Yeah, he can have some baggy touches and stuff, but the way he is in transition, you can't be a terrible like footballer to move like that.
Yeah,
the way he moves in them transition moments, I'm like, that stuff is exciting. I'm like, yeah, he might be seen as a poacher, but that excites me, bro. When I see Haaland doing
the craziest athlete,
bro, he's like the fastest big man you've ever seen, bro. This guy's 6'4", or something, 6'4", running at that speed.
He runs like a jaguar.
Come on, man. It's ridiculous. He's a absolute freak.
You know what it is with him too, right? You look at the goal against Brentford, and you look at a few goals that he's scored. You know that word aura, right? Everyone has kind of thrown this. They've overused it. They've killed the meaning of the word here, right?
Yeah, because now they just put guys they fancy.
Yeah, it's like fucking. I don't know. Lamina has aura.
Calafiori has aura because he's staring in the camera. Like,
you just have a fetish, bro. Yeah. But in terms of the word aura, for me, aura is like striking. Like when you're playing against them or when you're watching them, they have like almost like this glow around them, or even defenders or like players that are playing against them are looking at them. Like Zidane had this aura about him, and Haaland has his own little aura. And for me, it's almost fear. In terms of like Pinnick, if that's any other attacker at the weekend, like again, Haaland does well, but Pinnick probably should do better.
Yeah.
But it also has to do with how scary Haaland is running at you. You hear those footsteps, you feel it's the best goal scorer on the planet running at you. If that's, I don't know, Callum Wilson right there, Pinnick probably takes care of that. But because it's Erling Haaland and because of the vein of form that he's in, you start second guessing yourself. You start kind of like, should I try shielding the ball? Should I clear it? Should I try getting in a foot race with him? And it's game over, bro.
It's too much, man. It's too much, and it's the finishing this season as well. He is clinical, bro. Last season he gave everyone a chance. He missed 25.
I think to be fair, last year, right? I think he had a knock. I think he had a knock all of last season. And look, obviously like I came out saying like I didn't like the fact that he came out against Real Madrid, but I think you look at the way he started this season compared to the way he was playing last year, again, which is crazy to say, right? An off year, if you want to call it that. He still was the top scorer in the league, but he looks fresher, he looks 100%. Sharper, he looks fitter, and he looks hungrier.
His finishing is world level at the moment, man. So listen, I just struggle to see Arsenal containing that, but if any team's going to do it, it'll be Arsenal.
It's like, what is it? An unstoppable force meets an immovable object. That's what we're looking at here.
That is spot on. That should be the billing of this flipping.
Haaland is the unstoppable force.
Bro,
Gabriel Saliba,
immovable object. Like, listen, Andy Gray would have said that. You know what I mean? He would have said it. Trust me, he would have said that. But I can't wait for this game. It's gonna.
And Haaland takes the ball off them, and he says, "I'll take some of that."
He sees the keeper and he says, "I'm just gonna sit you down." He says, KDB looks up. Haaland says, "Thank you very much."
And it's 1-0 City.
Oh gosh. Jokes, man.
So what's your final prediction?
2-1 City.
I'm saying 4-0 draw, man. Wow. Arteta and Guardiola.
Nasty.
The two lovers you can't separate, bro. We're looking forward to this one, man. It's gonna be a Super Sunday. I hope on the pitch is Super Sunday, but in terms of the storyline, in terms of the billing, it absolutely will be. Let us know what you guys think about that in the comment section down below. Predictions, where this game will be won or lost. Maybe players that we didn't speak about to keep an eye out for. As always, of course, too, shout out to BR for powering this podcast on X, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, all over. So big up to them. It's been your boy Lyés, my guy CultureCams. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next week. Peace.